In Rome, there's an ancient tradition which is specific to the period of Lent. It involves visiting different prescribed churches called station churches on each day during the period to pray Vespers or participate in the Eucharist. This tradition most likely dates back to the early Christian community, when members used to visit each other from home to home. The tradition evolved so that the Holy Father would celebrate Mass in each part of the city to strengthen the sense of community. It is indeed most probable that the College of Cardinals was formed in this way, the first cardinals being the parish priest of these stational churches. Over the centuries, the tradition was forgotten and discovered once again. The route changed several times, but the Basilica of Santa Sabina on the Aventine Hill has always remained the first station on this route. And indeed, every year Pope Francis celebrates the beginning of Lent here, under these ancient vaults. This church has been a mother church for the Dominican order since its foundation. Our correspondent, Juliet Linley, met with Dominican Father Bonaventura Agbali to discover more about Ash Wednesday at Santa Sabina.
How do you prepare for the arrival of the Pontiff?
We're always happy, we always feel of joy. It's a privilege for us to receive the Holy Father every Ash Wednesday. But for the liturgical celebration, the Vatican team, the team of the liturgical celebration from the Vatican, are fully in charge of the preparations.
What does it mean for you that the Pope comes here to your church?
For me, it's a great honor, it's a great privilege as a Dominican personally, because I have been here for a couple of years, and each year I have the opportunity to be that close to the Pope, coming to our house, coming to our church. And this is not just for me personally, but for all Dominicans, both those residing here, those living in Rome, and Dominicans all over the world. We feel highly honored that every year we're able to receive the Holy Father at Santa Sabina.
Tell us a little bit about the symbolism of Ash Wednesday, just a little bit to give an idea.
Ash Wednesday marks the commencement of the season of Lent, which is a period of intense prayer, penance, and works of mercy and charity. It's 40 days of preparing for the celebration of the Paschal Mystery, which is the celebration of our redemption at Easter. So the Holy Father, in his Lenten message for this year, has asked us all to begin this journey with renewed enthusiasm, relying on prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, so that we will renew and inflame the fire of charity within us.
The Basilica of Saint Sabina is the oldest extant basilica in Rome that has preserved its original architectural style. Celebrating Ash Wednesday here is a way to connect with the 2,000-year-old tradition of the Catholic Church, hidden here within these walls and columns. This basilica was constructed in 432 on the site of early imperial houses on the property of Christian martyr Saint Sabina. This big wooden door goes back to the 5th century. It's made of 18 panels, and each one tells its own story from the Bible. The first panel on the top left is particularly precious, as it contains the earliest depiction of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ in Western art. Entering the basilica, one gets a great sensation of space. Kaleidoscopic light floods through the windows, reflects on the walls, and the starry ceiling, sacred art, and chapels adorn every corner. These superb colonnaded arcades create the perspective of the pathway to the Holy of Holies, the Eucharistic altar. These Corinthian columns used to be the pillars of a previous 2nd century pagan temple, and yet now they support the roof of the house of the living God and are decorated with Eucharistic representations. The apse of the church is crowned by a triumphal arch with images of Jesus and some saints. The fresco depicts the glorified Christ above the river of life. He's surrounded by the apostles St. Peter and Paul, and other saints such as St. Sabina and St. Serapia. The church itself is an example of the Lenten journey. For hundreds of years, it has been renovated with the objective of preserving the original style. And during Lent, every Christian is also called to be renewed, to be able to appear with their original splendor before the resurrected Christ.